Good day, I am Jessica Cipurel and I'm going to discuss about the European Central Bank or the ECB. The European Central Bank or ECB manages the euro and frames and implements EU economic and monetary policy. Its main aim to keep prices stable, thereby supporting economic growth and job creation. What does the ECB do? The ECB achieves its goal through several key actions. First, we have the interest rate control. The ECB sets interest rates for loans to commercial banks. By adjusting these rates, it influences the money supply and inflation. Higher interest rates generally curb inflation by making borrowing more expensive, slowing down economic activity. Lower interest rates stimulate economic activity by making borrowing cheaper. Second, we have the foreign currency reserve management. The ECB manages the Eurozone's foreign currency reserve, buying or selling currencies as needed to maintain stable exchange rates for the euro against other currencies. Like for example, if the euro is weak against the dollar, the ECB might sell dollars from reserves to buy euros, increasing demand or for the euro and strengthening its value. Third, we have the financial market supervision. The ECB ensures that financial markets and institutions within the Eurozone are properly supervised by national authorities. This includes overseeing payment system to ensure they function smoothly and reliable. This helps to maintain the stability of the financial system as a whole. Fourth, we have the banking system oversight. The ECB is responsible for ensuring the European banking system. This involves monitoring banks' financial health and taking action to prevent or mitigate the financial crisis. Okay, next, we proceed to the fifth goal of ECB. We have the Euro banknote production. The ECB authorizes the production of Euro banknotes by the countries in the Eurozone. This ensures a consistent supply of banknotes across the region. Last, we have the price trend monitoring. The ECB continuously monitors price trends and assesses risk to price stability. This involves analyzing economic data to identify potential inflationary pressures and taking appropriate action to prevent them.
Good morning, ma'am. So, my assigned topic is, how does the ECB work? So, ECB works the National Central Bank of all EU countries. So, together they form the European system of central banks. It leads cooperation between central banks in the Eurozone. So, this refers to as our Euro system. So the European Central Banks or ECB is the central bank responsible for managing the euro and setting monetary policy across the Eurozone, so which includes the 20 European Union's countries that use the euro of their currency. So its primary objective is to maintain the price stability by keeping inflation close to below 2%. So achieve this, the ECB set key interest rate such as refinancing rate, which is influenced borrowing, lending, and overall economic activity. So it's also conduct open market operation and during times of crisis, engaging in a quantitative easing, buying large amount of assets to inject money into the economy. So ECBC is structured with several government bodies. So the most important is Governing Council. So which makes key monetary policy decision and includes the 6 members of executive board and along with the governors and national central banks from each eurozone country. So the executive board member led by the president, vice president, handle day by day operation and inflation, the decision made by the government council. So there's also a general council which includes representatives from all 27 EU national central banks, so providing a forum for coordinators across the borders, EU, especially during the transition for the countries adopting the euro. So monetary function, the ECB supervise significant eurozone banks through the single supervision mechanism, so ensuring the stability and safety to the banking system. So it's also managed the euro exchange rate and oversees the issuance of euro banknotes. So through these rules and tools, the ECB plays a central role in maintaining economic stability in the eurozone.
I am Marcus Albon, and I am going to discuss it's all about legal and institutional arrangements. First, what is that? What is legal and institutional arrangements? So the legal and institutional arrangements are the systems of laws and government of organizations that help manage a country. They ensure order, fairness, and proper functioning of society by enforcing rules, providing services, and maintaining balance. So meaning, more siya mga rules o laws or sa panadera. Basta mga ingon na. Number 1, order and stability. They provide a framework for maintaining order and stability within society by defining rights, responsibilities, and consequences for actions. So it means that this help maintain peace and order by setting clear rules about what is right and wrong. So they define our rights and responsibilities and ensure that there are consequences for harmful actions. Number 2, protection of rights. So they safeguard individual rights and freedoms, ensuring that everyone is treated fairly and equally under the law. So it means that law is protect our basic rights and freedoms. So they make sure everyone is treated fairly no matter who they are by guaranteeing equal protection under the law. So monto siya. Number 3, conflict resolution. So they provide mechanisms for resolving disputes and conflicts in peaceful and orderly manner, thereby reducing the likelihood of violence and promoting social cohesion. So it means kung when people are or groups have disagreements, the laws provide a peaceful way to solve them. So this helps avoid violence and keep society working together smoothly. Then number 4, promotion of justice. So they uphold principles and justice by establishing legal procedures and institutions that ensure fair treatment and due process for all individuals. So this law are designed to be fair. So they create systems like courts. So they make sure everyone gets fair chance and that decisions are made with justice in mind. That's all. Thank you.
Number 5, economic development. They create a conducive environment for economic activities by enforcing contracts, protecting property rights, and regulating business practices, which foster investment and growth. And the 6 is public safety. They establish law and regulation aimed at protecting public safety and well-being such as those related to public health, environmental protection, and consumer safety. And the last but not the least, international relation. They facilitate cooperation and diplomacy between nations by establishing frameworks for international law, treaties, and agreements promoting peaceful relations and solving disputes between countries. That's all. Thank you.
Greetings, I am Amy Grace Celado and I will be reporting about the Federal Reserve System. So what is Federal Reserve System? The Federal Reserve System, it is often referred to as the Fed, is the central banking system of the United States. It is responsible for conducting monetary policy, supervising and regulating banks, and maintaining financial stability. So, what is the mandate and duty of Fed? So, the monetary policy goals of the Federal Reserve are twofold: to foster economic conditions that achieve stable prices and maximum sustainable employment. So, what are the duties of Federal Reserve System? The Fed's duties can be further categorized into four general areas. First, conducting national monetary policy by influencing monetary and credit conditions in the U.S. economy to ensure maximum employment, stable prices, and moderate long-term interest rates. Second, supervising and regulating banking institutions to ensure the safety of the U.S. banking and financial system and to protect consumers' credit rights. Third, maintaining financial system stability and containing systemic risk. Fourth, providing financial services including pivotal role in operating the national payments system, depository institutions, the U.S. government, and foreign official institutions. So, the Federal Reserve System have also an organizational structure. There are 7 members of the Board of Governors. These individuals are nominated by the President and approved by the U.S. Senate.
Good day everyone, my name is Chirilu Delmo and my topic is about the special considerations and the bottom line. So in special considerations, there are the four main income sources the federals have: the interest charges on a range of U.S. government securities acquired through its open market operations or OMO, and the other income sources include interest on foreign currency investments, interest on loans to depository institutions, and fees for services, such as check clearing and fund transfers provided to these institutions. After paying expenses, the federal transfers the rest of its earnings to the U.S. Treasury. So, this section explains how the Federal Reserve earns money. It's important to note that even though the Federal is not a traditional business, it still has income and expenses. So the first main sources of income is interest in U.S. government securities. The Federal buys U.S. Treasury bonds and earns interest on them. This is the biggest source of its income. So for example, if the Federal buys $1 billion Treasury bond at a 3% interest rate, so meaning it earns $30 million annually from that. Second, the interest on foreign currency investment. The Federal holds foreign currencies and earns interest from those too. So for example, if the Federal holds euros in a European bank that pays 1.5% interest, it earns that percentage on the amount held. Third, the interest on loans to banks. When banks borrow money from the Federal, like during a crisis, they pay interest.
So, for example, during a financial crisis, a bank borrows $500 million at 2.5% interest. So the federal earns $12.5 million annually from that. Then last, the fees for services. The federal provides services to banks like processing payments, fund transfers, or clearing checks, and charges for them. So for example, a bank pays the federal fees to process large-scale wire transfers. After paying expenses, the federal gives the remaining profit to the U.S. Treasury, helping reduce the national deficit. So, who owns the Federal Reserve? This section hints at a common question. The federal is not owned by anyone in the traditional sense. Technically, Federal Reserve banks are owned by private member banks, but this ownership does not give the control. The federal operates independently within the government and has a public mission. Second question, how does the federal set interest rates? The federal sets interest rates mainly through the federal funds rate, the rate banks charge each other for overnight loans. It uses tools like open market operations or OMO to influence this rate. So for example, if the federal wants to lower interest rates, it buys government securities, increasing the money supply and encouraging borrowing. Last question. Does the federal collect taxes? No. The answer is no. The federal does not collect taxes. That's the job of the International Revenue Service, or IRS. The federal influences the economy but has nothing to do with direct taxation. So, the bottom line, the Federal Reserve System is the central banking system of the United States. The federal uses the system and the tools it has to set interest rates and regulate the money supply to accomplish its mandate of price stability and maximum employment. So, in summary, the Federal is the central bank of the U.S. Its main goals mandate are price stability or control inflation. Second is maximum employment or support job growth. It uses its tools like setting interest rates and controlling the money supply to keep the economy stable. And that's all.
Good day, my name is Mary Jane Saleh. So my assigned topic is the review of the different central banks' governance and the highlights of performance during their term. So, reviewing the governance and performance highlights of different central banks involve analyzing various factors such as monetary policy effectiveness, financial stability, inflation control, and economic growth promotions. So which means assessing how will they use the monetary policy to control inflations and maintaining financial stability and support economic growth. So it involves evaluating the effectiveness of their tools like decision-making processes and their overall impact on the economy. So here's a brief overview of some key central banks and their recent performance. So I will be discussing the two key central banks because my group mates will discuss the other three. So the first one is the Federal Reserve Fed, United States. So the Fed is known for its dual mandate of price stability and maximum employment. During the recent terms, it implemented unconventional monetary policies like quantitative easing to combat the 2008 financial crisis and supported economic recovery post-2020 pandemic. So inflation targeting has been relatively successful, although there have been debates over the appropriate label of inflation.
My topic is all about Bank of England. Bank of England primary objectives include maintaining price stability and supporting the government economic objectives. So it responded swiftly to the 2008 financial crisis with the interest rate cuts and quantitative easing, contributing to stabilizing the economy. Bank of England performance is closely monitored for its impact on inflation and economic growth, especially amidst Brexit uncertainties. So each central bank governance structure, decision-making processes, and policy tools influence performance and effectiveness, achieving its objectives. Evaluating their performance um, involves considering a range of economic indicators and contextual. Next is Bank of Japan. Bank of Japan has been grappling with low inflation and economic stagnation for years. It has employed aggressive monetary easing measures, including negative interest rates and massive asset purchases. So, to boost inflation and growth, despite these efforts, achieving the target inflation rate of 2% has been challenging. So, and next is People Bank of China. People Bank of China plays a crucial role in managing China monetary policy, aiming for stable economic growth and financial stability. Its performance has been marked by efforts to balance between supporting economic expansion and controlling debt levels. So, People Bank of China has implemented various monetary tools, including reserve requirements, adjustments, and interest rate changes to influence economic condition. That's all.
Central bank governors made significant contributions to the respective economics during their terms. Ben Bernanke, or Federal Reserve USA 2006 to 2014. Bernanke played a pivotal role during the 2008 financial crisis, implementing unconventional monetary policies such as quantitative easing to stabilize the economy. He focused on transparency and communication, holding regular press conferences to explain the Fed's decisions. Bernanke's term saw the Fed navigating through one of the most challenging economic periods in recent history. Mario Draghi, or European Central Bank 2011 to 2019, Draghi famously pledged to do whatever it takes to save the euro during the European debt crisis, leading to the implementation of the Outright Monetary Transactions or DMT program. Under his leadership, the ECB introduced various stimulus measures, including negative interest rates and assets purchases, to support the Eurozone economy. Draghi's decisive actions are widely credited with stabilizing the Eurozone and restoring confidence in the ECB's ability to manage the region's monetary policy. Hurihiko Kuroda, or Bank of Japan, 2013 to present, Kuroda implemented aggressive monetary easing policy known as Abenomics to combat deflation and stimulate economic growth in Japan. He introduced massive asset purchases and negative interest rates to boost inflation and weaken the yen. Despite facing challenges such as Japan's aging population and sluggish growth, Kuroda remains committed to achieving the Bank of Japan's inflation target of 2%. Raghuram Raham, or Reserve Bank of Japan, 2013 to 2016, Raham prioritized inflation targeting and financial stability during his tenure, earnings praise for his efforts to contain inflation and strengthen the Indian banking system. He introduced reforms to improve transparency and accountability in the banking sector, as well as measures to address non-performing assets. Raham Senior saw India's economy navigating through a period of global volatility, with his policies aimed to maintaining stability and fostering sustainable growth. These are just a few examples, but each of these central bank governors made significant contributions through their respective economies during their terms.